This show is so gay. Not like how somebody like late 90s, early 2000s on the internet thinks that be gay is a derogatory thing that you can call something when you don't like it. No, 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 no. You misconstrue. You don't get me. This is the gayest cartoon I've seen. It's probably gayer than Steven Universe, and that features an actual lesbian wedding. And one of the main plots in that cartoon is about how one character who identifies as a woman had a huge crush on another character who was a woman. This show is so gay. So gay. And I'm here for it.
De overwinning nadert. Duister zwicht voor het licht.
Dutchman versus She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
Hi! If you don't know me and don't like Doctor Who, you probably don't watch my videos about Doctor Who. The blonde wig is just because Jodie Whittaker, the actress playing the Doctor at the moment, has big blonde hair. Yeah, that's the only reason I have that wig. So Netflix, alongside DreamWorks, released a new She-Ra cartoon called The Princesses of Power. And I figured, you know what the internet needs is another man, you know, 18 to late 30s, that has an opinion about a kids cartoon primarily focused towards girls. You know, that's like a gap in the market. That's like, I've got to get in there, you know, strike while the iron is hot. I've got to get my hot takes out there. Yeah. So, yeah, a little bit of a history. If you don't know She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, and you have been on the internet for the last year or so, what rock have you been living under? It's a remake of the old Filmation cartoon, which was a spin-off of He-Man. And suffice to say that there being a cartoon about a girl protagonist being, you know, quite the badass, and her not looking like a bloody supermodel, or drawn like a supermodel anyway. Yeah, it rattled quite a few chains. But we're not going to talk about that today. Great. Let's just keep that baloney out of this video. This is a baloney-free video. That sounded weird. So basically, She-Ra and the Princess of Power is a retooling of the original She-Ra, where she found a sword and she was from another planet where He-Man came from. And here she is yet another, you know, orphan lost in the middle of another planet, and she's got raised by the Horde. This cartoon is basically structured into 3 acts. The first one is like getting the band together, getting to know, you know, Glimmer and Bo and She-Ra and Adora, and figuring out like who these characters are and what their relationship dynamic is. Then you have basically a collectathon, like we have to find the guest star of the week, one of the titular Princesses of Power, and then you have the last few episodes basically like the last stand, you know, a bit like how the Autobots or the Maximals or whatever you can think of Power Rangers have to defend their base against the bad guys. It's very formulaic, I must be honest, and you know what? It works. This show's actually written quite cleverly. I English very well, if you didn't know. The writing's actually quite sharp. I'm surprised as to how much it was, because I don't know if any of you have seen the old She-Ra cartoon, but writing was not one of its strong suits.
I know. Sometimes we just have to relax. Ugh! Ooh! Ooh! What happened to my thermo friend?
It was a cartoon made to sell action figures. Now, I'm not saying they're not going to make action figures of this one, because I would totally buy a Scorpia. I would buy several Scorpios. I would buy so many Scorpios I could, you know, fill an entire shelf with them. Because Scorpio's great. Like I said, the old cartoon, it's very, 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 very 80s. Evil villains are evil, good guys are good. There's a moral at the end of every episode, and everybody freeze frames into a ha 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 ha, we sure beat that guy. And yeah, that's basically all that is to it. Here we have a character arc, several arcs, people learning about themselves. Imposter syndrome is a very large part of this series, or at least this season. And, you know, people having to come to grips with reality as to their deeds in the past as well. I was quite surprised as to how much of that was in what's basically supposed to be a kids' cartoon. Now, I say kids' cartoon, but obviously kids' cartoons come in different age brackets. I've got the feeling this is supposed to be like, seeing as the characters are mostly in their teens, it's probably meant for a little bit younger than that, like originally maybe like 10, 12, along those lines. Then you may be asking, why are you a grown man watching cartoons? And my answer would be, I'm a grown man, I can do whatever I want. Don't judge me. Okay, you can judge me, but please don't judge me. But let's go back to the writing. All of the characters are at least in a way endearing, or, you know, they feel relevant. Katra is the main villainess, or at least the primary antagonist for Adora because of personal connection. Adora is the protagonist, and she, you know, has to undergo the fact that she's She-Ra, but it's not like, oh, having powers is awesome all the time. My favourite out of the bunch was Seahawk, who was basically just a very generic, bland, good guy in the original cartoon, but here he's like, if you've ever seen Batman the Brave and the Bold, imagine he's Aquaman, which is very fitting because both of them very tied to the, you know, entire nautical theme.
A call to adventure! Adam, answer that call!
He's one of those boisterous guys who loves adventure! And that's his thing. I love him to bits. On the bad guy side, we have, like I said before, Katra, but as opposed to her being just a henchman or a henchwoman, in this case she has a personal connection to Adora, seeing as both of them grew up together in the Horde. And you have Scorpia, who's like, in this case, not just a literal palette swap of Katra with scorpion claws. She's like one of those genuine characters. You'd almost think that she'd be a good guy, except for the fact she has a scorpion tail and giant scorpion claws. Yeah. Then you have Mordak, who seems to be still in a nebulous evil villain overlord position. Fine. But he doesn't do much, so I can't judge him much. But then you get Shadow Weaver, who is a little bit, gives me those Starscream vibes. All in all, I'm trying to say I like the characters. Very few people actually read as 100% good or 100% evil. It's just mostly people on different sides of a wall that they have very little choice of being a part of. Which is, again, it's a kids' cartoon. This makes me think of the art style segue achieved. It's a little bit halfway in between Avatar, The Last Airbender and Steven Universe, and I must say, while I do really dig all the redesigns, they're pretty great, especially Scorpia giving me an idea a little bit like Jasper from Steven Universe again, a big buff woman, and I love me some big buff women. I love them, I just do. And Hordak a little bit giving me vibes of like a classical vampire. He's a little bit sleeker, because everybody in the old cartoon was super buff because action figures. So yes, but as much as I love the design, the animation itself is not always as good as I'd like it to be. Granted, to be fair, Avatar The Last Airbender was like really top notch, and Steven Universe does a lot with what it has, being a Cartoon Network cartoon of a certain level. But here it's like DreamWorks and Netflix, surely they could have put a little bit more effort into it. It sounds like I'm slamming it. I'm not saying it's lazy work, but it maybe feels a little bit creatively lazy, like they could have done the extra effort but they were not allowed to, or they did not, or they chose not to. And I'm not saying this is the artists drawing the animation, I'm saying this probably came from upper hand. Again, kids cartoon. So all in all, it's like a 13 episode series of 20-minute episodes, and I love it. It's great. I mean, who decided that all television should be like half an hour to 45 minutes to 1 hour long episodes? Give me stuff I can binge watch in an afternoon, please. This and Castlevania Season 2 have been some of my favorite Netflix releases this year, and it's done like, you could do it in like a late Sunday afternoon or the Saturday when you bunted your kids out, you know, because why would you watch a kids cartoon with kids anyway? That would make far too much sense. My desires, however, if there is a second season, I hope they stave off the inevitable He-Man crossover, because they've name dropped Eternia quite a few times. Because I would like She-Ra to get at least a little bit more notoriety on her own grounds before getting all the He-Man characters in it, because, you know, everybody would be distracted by the fact that Skeletor and Man of Arms would be around. I don't know where they would carry the plot next, because I'm not a writer, so I've got no ideas or concepts about that. What I do hope is that after seeing the success of the first season of She-Ra, they might put some more polish into the next season. Again, it's not the worst thing in the world, but I have seen on the internet, the online trademark, that a lot of people were turned off by it, and I can't imagine why. I mean, it's not a deal breaker for me, but I can see why it would irk some people. Again, kids cartoon, grown man, mid-30s. I approve wholesale. Watch this stuffing out of this. It's so gay. So gay. Anyway, do all the social media things that YouTubers always tell you to do, but I can't be bothered anymore. I'm rebelling against the system, and I'm doing it one crappy upload at a time. I'm gonna find some more girl stuff to watch, because I still have more mileage to get out of this wig before, you know, Doctor Who series season 11 ends, and don't judge me.
Bo, maybe you should take Adora in the back way?
Also, miss me if you actually think this is a bad show because it's too SJW and preachy about, you know, whatever you can think of. Because She-Ra was a spin-off of He-Man because He-Man drew in so many young little girls. Yes, because so many girls were watching what was supposed to be a boys' cartoon. They made another cartoon just for girls. And then the same people made Brave Star, with the stipulation that Brave Star, the main hero in that show, was a Native American in a Wild West setting. It's always been this way. Get lost!
Seahawk is impressed with my knots. This is the best day of my life.
It's so gay.